Okay. Let's. I want these families need to be together. That means you got to come and close. All right.
Why?
Because that was important in this case.
Yeah.
Okay. Come here, Arthur. Come over here. Becky. What are you like? Second citizen here today? All right. I want you guys together. All right, because there were two seminal things about this case that we set out 4 years ago to do. All right. One of them was done last week, which was to exonerate Harold, to show that he didn't have anything to do with what happened. And Harley Davidson was saying for 4.5 years that it was his fault twice. And we knew that was not true, and that was a really important thing for us. But next, it was equally important that Harley Davidson be held accountable for what they did. Harold has told me from day one, in fact, he stood in front of this courthouse 4 years ago with some news cameras, and he said that we want to come here because we don't want this to happen to anybody else again. That companies like this need to be held accountable for their conduct and for the things that they did that put these two families in this position. That was accomplished. The message that this jury sent is super, super powerful. And for many, many years, Harley Davidson was not only refusing to accept responsibility, but was relying on the fact that they thought they could come to a small town and not have what happened to them today. So today they got small town justice in a big time way. And that's really important to us, right?
Very important.
The aggregate verdict was, I don't know the exact number, it was $287 million in total, with a punitive damages award of $240 million. It's that punitive damages number that we really wanted to get out there, that we really want people to know. Because you have cases going on now, you have Boeing in the news, you have all sorts of news about companies putting out products in ways that are unsafe. And so we really wanted that number to send a message out to not just Harley Davidson, but to any other company that this is unacceptable. And that message was sent. And it was sent from beautiful Livingston County, where these big corporations think they could fly in and get over on these people. And that is not what happened. And we said from the very beginning, Harold has always said to me, you think these farmers aren't going to understand what goes on with these companies and with these equipment? He said they are dead wrong if that's what they think. Isn't that right, Harold?
That's right.
This farmer knew better, right?
These boys drive $1 million tractors, and they have a bunch of them. They understand money, and they understand how to fix it and what is wrong.
Man, you come to Western New York, one thing's not going to happen is these people know about snow, so they know about snow jobs. And that's what was going on in this courtroom. Didn't happen. All right? So we're psyched about that. Right, Dan?
Certainly are. Paul, quick question. Did the jury award you even more than what you thought they would or what you asked for?
In the punitive damages aspect, yes. We suggested $224 million, $112 million for each of the litigants that we thought was appropriate, which was based on either 1 week's revenue for Harley Davidson or 1% of the value of the company. Now, we suggested that, but we presented the financials on Harley Davidson, which they, at one point, were going to challenge, but then didn't, and gave the jury the option of knowing, different kind of stages, 1% or 2%, and apparently they went slightly higher than what we had suggested, which they're certainly allowed to do. That's probably indicative of just what they thought. I mean, this jury was so meticulous in what they did that I can't help but think that was purposeful. That they knew we asked for $224 million in punitive damages, and they came back with $240 million in punitive damages, which was more. I think even that was this remarkably intelligent and hardworking jury sending an even bigger message to this defendant. I mean, I guess we'd have to ask them that, but that's my take on that number.
Harold, right from the beginning, you said this wasn't about money.
Correct.
Right? All of a sudden, it's a little bit more about money.
Not for me.
Not for you.
I wanted it so nobody else in the country would go through what I have. That was it. Money's nice. It'd be great for my children one day if we ever get through the rest of the process. but I wanted them to hold capital and not hurt anybody else. Still do.
We're here now, and we also know that the fight's not over. That Harley Davidson has all the resources and all the lawyers in the world, and that they're not even going to accept this jury's verdict. We know that. They're going to appeal. They're going to keep trying to grind all of us down, wear us down, but you can't wear down an old farmer.
Won't give up. Who will not?
You guys have any plans to take this nationally?
I hope so.
Isn't that what we're doing? Media attention, national, local, is crucial to getting a message out. It's really the only way to combat this kind of thing. Jury verdicts and media are really powerful tools to keep a check on corporations at times. And that's what you're seeing here. So we're really thankful for that.
Becky, Stephanie, obviously you guys were here every day. You've been here every day through this whole thing. You guys were visibly emotional when they delivered. Just your reaction and your thoughts, if you would.
Well, I can say that from the bottom of my heart, I can tell you that if my sister were here, she would echo what Harold is saying, that she would never want another family to go through what we've gone through. I've got an 87-year-old mom that's waiting at home that will not have her daughter again. And I think that this is an important message to send to Harley. I was struck by the fact that even the counsel in there showed very little empathy or remorse for what they were found guilty of. And I think this is indicative of Harley Davidson. And I hope the message gets out. I hope that anybody that's on a 2019 trike looks at this case very, very carefully.
Is the compromise Judge Dorn suggested possible?
No, because we were never looking for a compromise, okay? However, Harley Davidson has made it clear from the minute one that they had no interest in talking to us about resolving the case. There was one particular point in this case where Judge Dorn got involved, where he tried to broker a compromise, a settlement. And he really was quite forceful in trying to do that. And Harley Davidson completely turned their back. So, we're always open to talking, but we needed this message to get out. And their message has always been from day one that we have the resources, the lawyers, we don't care, we will just keep going. I'll tell you what they didn't realize, what they don't realize is they don't realize that Harold had lawyers like Dan and Glenn and Arthur and Ben, who's not even a lawyer. All right? That's what they underestimated in this case, the resolve and the will of these families and the courage that they could muster up to empower us to see this thing all the way through. And that's what we intend to do.
But I got to tell you that the failure to be able to tell these people, this jury, about full compensation for the family, which just is beyond the daughter and the granddaughter, but the siblings as well, the nieces, the cousins, the people that were there. The Grieving Families Act has to get signed. The law in this state has to change. I'm asking Governor Hochul, look at this case. I'll gladly speak to you on the phone. I'll tell you everything that happened. Explain to you why these people deserve compensation for their losses. That's it for my political statement, but I do want to turn it over and give Bob and Becky an opportunity to share from their perspective as they lost their sister to the sins of Harley Davidson, and her blood is on their hands. That's never going to change, but at least this jury made clear that they could never deny it ever again, as they did for the past 4 years, and as they may do in other cases, but we will not let them. And I'm honored and privileged to have been working with Paul Edelstein and his team, and I can't think of anybody better to go into battle with, and I look forward to the next battle that we have with Harley Davidson, where they won't be able to pull the wool over anybody's eyes based on everything that we uncovered and discovered in a public forum right here in Livingston County, New York. Thank you. I have never seen a jury pay as close attention on a daily basis. There were no down days. They showed up every day. We started on July 23rd with evidence. We picked them on July 22nd, and we went every day until today. And my hat's off to them as citizens of this county, of this state. They are spectacular examples of what it means to be a free American today in 2024, where you can weigh the controversies of individuals and corporations and not be afraid to stand up and be counted and say it like it is and effectuate change. So I am forever grateful to all of them, even those that were dismissed. They were ready to go the distance. So just wanted that to be clear. Thank you.
What you saw here was really, really important, not just for this case, for these families, for this topic, but just as a whole in terms of how things in our country can get done in a really fair way. And so, like, I think that, for us, that was very moving that he really was harping on that, because we don't really see that too often.
I know it's really soon, but what are the thoughts sort of running through your head right now? What are you feeling right now?
Relief. And feeling that what we went through, Paul's team went through, was the right thing. And I was never ready to back down. Never. I told the judge that when he tried to negotiate, get things done. I told him the numbers, the facts of why, the facts of the case. I said, I'm not quitting. They are going to be held accountable, or I'm going to walk out of here knowing I did my best.
We did.
We did.
Right, so even if it went differently, you would have said the same thing, right?
That's right. It would have been the same thing. So.
I know. The total verdict, the aggregate, is north of $287 million, but the punitive damages is really what's significant. So that was a total of $240 million, and the relevance of the number is us telling you that, because Harley now hears that. So this number gets to Harley's boardroom, and if they would have done anything other than that, it doesn't get to Harley's boardroom. It gets to their accounting department, and they write a check to the guy, and they just go on their way. All right, that number hits the boardroom. And it probably doesn't just hit Harley's boardroom, it hits Suzuki's boardroom, it hits GM's boardroom, it hits Pontiac's boardroom, it hits everybody's boardroom. That these are the kind of things you guys better look out for. And that's really what we were here for. It was really the thing that we wanted most was to get that out. Right, Harold?
Exactly.
Mr. Morris, if I could ask, what would be the one thing you'd say to Harley Davidson leaders right now?
Can you ask me that one?
Tell the truth and keep their customers informed and do the right thing to repair their mistakes.
Gotcha. And then what does it mean to finally get this compensation, hopefully a little bit of closure for the death of Miss Sinclair there?
I don't think the compensation is a pleasure. The pleasure is getting the word out there and letting the world know they screwed up.